Good morning, Tom Weber. Good morning, Lizzie.
Good morning.
It's great to see you. We'll give folks a minute to join.
Sure.
Good morning. Hopefully, everybody got the schedule for this week and our email glitch is fixed. So we're so happy this morning to have Lizzie on from Project Bread. We're gonna have Aditi and Christy on tomorrow, sharing the mic on Wednesday, and of course, I cannot remember Thursday, but we'll be here. Um, I also, after Lizzie shares her update, we got an update from Danielle Ewan about some administration changes. So we're still learning too, but we'll share the information. I posted it in the follow-up folder. So we'll just kind of flag that for folks. And Lizzie, you can share your screen or I can share your slides, whatever works best.
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Donna put in who's on Thursday. Lauren and Daniel from NAYC will join us on Thursday. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Donna. So Lizzie, as you we're so happy you could be here. And as you get started, just tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in your current role. And I was looking back at the calendar from last summer and around this very time had you folks on to talk about summer eat. So thanks so much. And I'll turn things over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I kind of get that a lot for some reason. I tend to be in rotation around the same time. But hi, everyone. I'm Lizzie Agbedun, the Advocacy Manager at Project Bread. And my job is essentially bringing people into the fold and teaching them different ways they can advocate, connect with their legislators, and just get involved in our anti-hunger priorities, whether that's summer eats, school meals for all program, or making hunger history in Massachusetts. So different initiatives that we tend to try to get the community involved. And I'm just so excited to get to work with our grassroots and also work with community partners like Strategists for Children. And once again, thank you for this opportunity.
Well, tell us about you. How'd you come to be in a Project Bread?
Oh, yeah. So I started out Project Bread after I decided that I didn't want to be a neuroscientist anymore. So I kind of grew up on the farm, around a tight community of people who are just passionate about food and community. And that's always been something that's been dear to my heart. But also science was also dear to my heart. And I kind of came to the threshold where I had to decide which one was the best for me. And I just couldn't stay away. After seeing an opening at Project Bread, I just tried my luck. And this was a miss like many other applications. I was like, this seems interesting. Let's see. And I've never regretted it since then because it just feels true to who I am. And that's why I love my job because it gives me the opportunity to meet new people and like socialize, which is something that I really love to do. So
Thanks so much, Lizzie. That's great.
thank you. Let me figure out. So I'm here today to talk about summer eats. And I know a lot of people tend to see posters up talking about summer eats, maybe on the bus, at schools. You probably even get questions about summer eats. And I was one of those people who didn't really understand what it was. It was just like, okay, free food, but is it really free, right? And yeah, that's why I want to start off with what is summer eats? Summer Eats provides free meals to Massachusetts children and teens 18 and under. And during the summer months when school meals aren't available, which tends to be the hardest for a lot of families struggling to keep food on the table, right? That's the moment where they can't rely on those school meals. And Summer Eats kind of replaces that, and it's administered by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. It's a lot to say, but and the sites across the state serve meals with no ID or registration required. Caregivers tend to rest easier knowing that the meals are taken care of. And this also gives them more time and energy to focus on everything else, whether it's like bills or, summer clothing or camp, just, all the costs that come with the summer and having children, right? So, how does the Summer Eat program work? The key players are, as I mentioned before, number one is the USDA. So the USDA, let me say the full word. I don't like to use abbreviations, but it's the United States Department of Agriculture. So they provide the funding, and the state uses that funding through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to oversee the program. And that's not possible without our local sponsors. So the town, the cities, and the neighborhoods. So we have school districts, community organizations, and camps who help run the program. So sites in neighborhoods such as parks, libraries, and housing properties are where these meals are served. So first of all, we need the funding. We have that from the Department of Agriculture. And then the state administers this program through DESI, and the towns, the cities, the parks, the schools, camps are there to serve as a location spot for people to come and pick up the meals and also just to have fun, right? And Project Bread is kind of the peanut butter and jam that ties this together. We bring it all together, and our goal is to support schools and community-based organizations in reaching more children and teens with nutritious meals. So get kids eating as much as possible every day for as long as we can. And we partner with communities and DESI to provide support services, growing programs, recruiting new sites, because the more the merrier, right? Increasing access and helping with outreach and promotion. And one thing that I take away from our role is that we're able to pull in people who don't necessarily believe in the program and aren't sure what it is or aren't aware it's in their neighborhood. So we're just out there just spreading the word as much as we can. Okay, I don't know why I disappeared twice. But this is the next slide.
You got it.
Yeah, so how can families find summer eat sites and access these resources? In my neighborhood, it's at the YMCA, and I know that because that's just like word of mouth that spreads. But we do have a live locator that can help members of the community find these programs. And let me just take a moment to post that in the chat. Oh, now I'm seeing the questions in the chat, and I promise I'll get to them in a
And
second.
I'll moderate. No worries.
Thank you. So we maintain this live online Summer Eats Finder map. It shows all sites across the state, and it's updated weekly with latest information like addresses, meal times, things you need to know when going on the site, and what kind of meals are served. So no matter where a family is on a given day, they can just use this map to find the nearest site close to them, whether they're in commute, picking up a kid from camp, and they just want to stop by somewhere real quick. It's a very easy way to just figure out a plan for that. And it's a one-stop shop for everything you need. Like you can find questions and answers, details, and resources. Should I do questions now before I move on,
Why
or?
don't you keep going and then we can go back. I'll moderate the questions. Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Nice. So one thing that I like to share is that we can all help Summer Eats serves kids and teens in our communities, right? So the more the merrier, and it takes all of us to do so. So how can we help kids and teens in our communities this summer? And there are two ways to get involved. The first is to help spread the word we have flyers in multiple languages. You can post on social media, kind of sharing the Summer Eats map, or simply talking to families, you know. Sometimes I was at a birthday party recently, and one of the moms was talking about how she stumbled upon the site, got a lot of food. So if anyone wanted some, it's in her car. And I was just sharing, yeah, anyone can get that, especially if you have kids. So, when you hear those kind of conversations, just being a resource for members in your circle. And the more that people know about the program, the more kids we can feed. Because and you can share the meal finder to help families find nearby sites. Like if you have this on your list of just, oh, here's the link, or just search out Summer Eats, it'll pop up. And again, word of mouth, I feel like has been the most effective. And the second is being a site or a sponsor for Summer Eats. So if you're part of a school, a community organization, a library, or even a housing site, we can start planning with you to make that a Summer Eats site. So our children nutrition outreach team is like we're here to help people access eligibility and connect you with a sponsor. And all you have to do is just email us. I think I pasted that email in the chat.
So one of the questions in the chat was just, yeah, how you become a site. So maybe you can talk about, or how do you
Yes,
pick the sites?
yes. So you shoot us an email and we help you get eligible for to be a Summer Eat site. And that's it. And then we also provide you with resources to advertise, put up posters and signs. Basically, we're basically a one-stop shop for getting eligible, getting the resources you need, and just to help you throughout the whole process. And once again, Project Bread is here to support every step of the way. And our child nutrition team, they do such amazing work. And again, they can work with you one-on-one to either identify potential sponsors near you, brainstorm outreach strategies, and discuss maybe becoming a site in the future. And you can also get Summer Eats materials and basically all I've said. And I just wanted to share, I like to share this resource wherever I am. Our food source hotline is always available to help families access food resources, including SNAP and Summer Eats. So all you have to do is call that number or visit our website, and you can reach out to us about anything. And
And thank you. One question I did not see in chat, but I'm sure people are thinking about is as we're hearing about all these cuts at the federal level, can you talk about like the connection to all that's happening? I know you are all monitoring and advocating. I know Erin's been out kind of putting up messages. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what that vibe is and what how this all connects either with Summer Eats or all the other work that you all are doing?
yeah, so unfortunately, as you know, it passed in the Senate recently, and these cuts are essentially, um, it takes a lot from programs like SNAP, Medicaid, and these are fundings that will come out of the state budget, right? So if the state is spending more, to fill those gaps, it can pull, funding away from other programs, right? Like school meals, summer eats, and all of that. But as far as my knowledge, we've gotten great funding this fiscal year, and we're anticipating this program to stay supported. And all hope isn't lost yet because Massachusetts has been very bold and, active about feeding our kids and feeding our communities. And we don't anticipate any cuts or any slowdown in the program anytime soon. But if you're thinking about, getting involved on a federal level, now is the time to speak out and just let your federal representatives know that these cuts are very detrimental to all of us. Like, we're losing, it's going to lead to losses of jobs, especially in the
Right.
agriculture sector. It's going to lead to like decreased funding. So it not only impacts our community, it also impacts people who are already struggling to put food on the table. And that affects all of us. And that trickle
Right.
down effect is something that we're working hard in Massachusetts to avoid. Yeah.
And then there was a question about the Summer Eats sites. Are there any weekend sites or is it strictly weekdays?
It depends on the site, according to my knowledge. So, like the YMCA, for example, the days it's open, it does, have the summer meals. So it depends on your community. And yeah,
Okay, so it's
but
like
they
kind of site specific.
yes, it's very site specific, like when they're open or when they're closed. But when people come to pick up food, they can pick up as much as they want, and I think that can help remedy the lack of 24/7
Right.
open. Yeah. But with the
Availability.
meal finder, you can kind of create a calendar or like a map of what day to go to which.
Um, and then Amy Norton says, piggybacking on Amy's question, since many folks will be losing SNAP benefits due to the inability to fulfill the activity requirements, do you anticipate food pantries and other food programs to be inundated or at least feel pressure from the empty shelves?
Yes, that's one of my biggest personal fear because if people are losing access, the food pantries are already like
Right.
capacitated as is. Like there are long lines, especially in like food desert communities. So we that's definitely something that's going to take a hit, right? More people going to the food pantries and the food pantries not being able to fulfill all those needs. So yeah.
And are there any active alerts for Project Bread to connect with legislators on your website?
Um, since since it already is already gone through the Senate, we currently
Right.
don't have anything live.
Right.
But I
We're
will
all
send that
regrouping.
through SFC when we do have our next plan
Great.
of how you can take action. But again, that doesn't stop anyone from personally reaching out to your federal representatives and just giving them a call. Like
Right.
it just makes them understand that people are watching this go through the process. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right. Michelle wonders with that as well, is there an option for summer eats to turn into fall, winter, spring eats? I know kids will get fed in schools, but there still will be gaps.
Yes. I feel like this is above my expertise as an advocacy manager, but I believe that summer Eat specifically only happens during the duration of the summer. But
Right.
there are other resources throughout the school year, like free school meals that recently got passed permanently in Massachusetts.
Right.
And just this fiscal year, we received a $10 million boost. So that program is getting even more funding.
Oh,
And
that's great.
yeah, and a lot of schools and communities will have like take home food and like, resources and all of that for community members to access. But yes, there is always going to be a gap and we're always going to need to fight and advocate to fill that gap.
That's such a good point. And I think understanding, so maybe kind of as we transition from summer to fall, really understand what resources are available.
Yes.
This is why the local piece is so incredibly important. Like, how can folks kind of complete the puzzle of all the pieces that are out there and all the supports that are available. I think
Yeah.
everybody has had this kind of low grade worry and anxiety about what will happen when we see some of these policies come into
Coming through.
place. One
Yeah.
of the 9:30 call fun facts is one of our first, I think it's like the first or second guest we had on the 9:30 call in March of 2020 was Jen Leberman because as COVID was unfolding, we saw the food insecurity kind of, it was a big boom and people kind of,
Yeah.
it was out in front and people really needed help. And so I added for folks to share some 9:30 call love and appreciation to Lizzie and the team at Project Bread. And we kind of value our partnership with you and are happy to think about how we can share and connect and advocate together.
Yeah.
Another question came into chat. Are kids able to take the food with them or do they have to eat at the site?
Oh no, they can take it with them. And they also go home with a lot of souvenirs. Like they have really bright t-shirts and toys. And there are also like games on sites that they can play. So I feel like it's one of those experiences where, as a kid with lived experience, going to a site, not feeling like I'm a charity case, but more of like, oh, it's an event and I get to take food home, and I feel like
Right,
that's more about dignity than, just handing out free food, right?
right. Um, Anything else that we should know? Oh, let me see. There's lots of love and appreciation coming in through chat. Any
Thank
advice for
you.
how to make the best use of food that a child doesn't touch but that needs to be thrown away?
Kids
Yeah,
will
that's
always, yeah, kids will always, I feel like throw food away. But the one thing that I try to think about is why, right? Like why are they throwing food away? And I think once you tend to answer that question, you can limit waste. Like for example, whether it's relevant culturally to them or it's something that's new and just needs to be introduced, or there's just a lack of knowledge on like what's good or bad, right? Like these are the questions
yeah.
that tend to show us why people waste food. But sometimes it could just be an encouragement, like, oh, I eat this all the time, if that works. But you guys are the experts.
Well, and I think right, as anyone who's working in young with young children in a family childcare program or a classroom in a center, there's a lot to think about and consider. And I
Yeah.
think we've learned a lot more about like give everybody the same exact thing and say nobody can get up unless you finish all your like we can't do that.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
I
but I
think
think
they
like
vaguely
old
remember
school
that.
times, yeah, I mean there were I think this so I think like you said, like how are you encouraging? How much are you sharing? Maybe like give a little bit to start with and see if how much they like it or just kind of it's a really important so important to child development. Like there's so many things connected to food. And I know that Aaron talks a lot about Aaron McAleer, the CEO of Project Bread, the stigma, which you talked about as well. Like so going to summer eats, making it kind of not I have to go get food, but more of an event and the supportive environment. And I think that also translate when we're thinking about kind of serving food to young children. Lots of good wishes. Thank you, Lizzie. Your energy is just what we need for a Monday morning, and greatly appreciate your answer about why children throw away food.
Thank you
Um,
so much for having me today. And I remember it was 3 weeks ago where I sent you the link to an action alert, and I just saw an influx of actions just coming
oh,
in
that's
that
good.
day. And I just want to say that it's really great to be here and to just connect with a community during this troubling times.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amy Norton shares, this has been wonderful. Thank you for the great information. Mass 211 refers to Project Bread daily, and to learn more about Summer Eats program has been amazing. You do amazing work. Thank you, Lizzie. A friend told me you can take up to 17 times to taste something to figure out if you really like it.
Yeah.
That's great.
That sounds
So
about right.
Lizzie shared her slides, so we'll post them in the follow-up folder for the 9:30 call. And speaking of that, I'm gonna add to chat. Actually, I can probably share my screen. Let me just get to the right folder. So we have a link on the website, and it's the 9:30 call follow-up folder. And so I'm going to take you to now. This is the update on the federal level folder. So you can see we have been posting the updates that Danielle Ewan has been sending weekly. So last one was the 4th. We expect there'll be one today. But this is the one, and I can put this in chat. The administration has posted several notices of regulatory changes to the public charge rule that impacts whether and how immigrant families can be served. The language puts very significant restrictions on programs. More guidance is coming, but we wanted to let folks know that there will be many questions and much concern and at the family level. So I'm going to add this whole thing to chat and then I'll add the follow-up folder. Danielle is coming back on August 5th, which seems like a long time away, but we will also I'm going to put the link to the federal updates folder, and this is there's a lot of information. But even maybe if you have like one person on your staff be monitoring this, we'll continue to provide updates here on the 9:30 call. So many of the national groups are having webinars about this. I know that it's hard to get to all of them. We'll try to go to as many as we can and share resources. Um, and so, but so that's what's happening. I know Michelle Hemowitz from the Head Start Association has already been in touch with me this morning. So as we learn more, we will share it here on the 9:30 call. But just wanted to give folks a heads up about that. And then we know that we'll have Lauren and Daniel on from NAYC on Thursday, and I'm sure they will also share. NAYC has been doing a lot of work about how to first get the information out to people and then get back information about how these policies or proposed policies will be impacting folks who are doing the work every day and the children and families that we are all serving. So, Lizzie, thanks again. We always say we get the inspiration we didn't know we needed on the 9:30 call. That certainly was true this morning. We really appreciate you jumping on. And there is the Project Bread website is very user friendly. If you Google Summer Eats, you will get right to the page. And as Lizzie said, they are looking for partners in this work. So if you see a gap on the map, follow up and see how you can fill in that gap. Great. We will see everyone tomorrow morning at 9:30. Hope you have a good Monday. Thanks so much, Lizzie.